Hey, family, TACC man, how you doing? Talk to me. Tell me something good. We're gonna dig into ourselves today. You know what that is? Your faults. We're gonna dig into our faults, our flaws, rather. Not our fault, our flaws. 1 second. Let me straighten this out. Uh, get you right before we go all the way live. Uh, get it all the way right before we go live. Oh shit, Noonie died. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, man, I didn't know that. Yeah. I'll be right with y'all 1 second. I'm just trying to get things together so you guys can. Damn, I didn't even know Noonie died. Noonie was like a big sister to the whole block. I'm from 144 Bro in Amsterdam. And Noonie was like a big sister to all of us, in my age bracket. Um, yeah, she's gonna be missed. She's definitely gonna be missed. Oh man. Okay, 1 second. Bam, here we go. That don't make sense. Okay. All right, let's rock. Let's rock. How y'all doing tonight, man? I went to therapy today and I worked my butt off and I am kind of sore. I had to take one of my pills and I don't really do that. Uh, yeah. Yeah, but I seen something that tied into what we talking about. And that's our flaws. I know a lot of times people don't want to admit that they have flaws, don't want to realize their flaws or look at their flaws, but these are things that we must face in our lives, you know. And it's a beautiful thing when you're honest. Honesty shines light on your real flaws, so you know exactly what needs fixing. Without it, you're just guessing in the dark. Adversity then becomes the pressure that forces you to actually make those changes. It's the fire that tempers you, Facing your faults head on through tough time builds real strength, and the life you build after it is way more solid and satisfying than the ones you had before. You see what I'm saying? These are just some of the things that when you face your flaws, you're able to overcome. There's so much in our life that we have to try to get over or figure out. Excuse me. And the only way we do that, right? The only way we do that is by facing. Like I tell you, it's only through your adversity change takes place. So here's 30 common flaws and why facing them honestly leads to real change. I want you guys to pay attention to this. Procrastination, that's one of our flaws. Honesty shows how it's killing your dream. So you start building discipline. I'm giving you the flaw and I'm giving you what we have to do to combat it. Oh, I ain't even like my candle. I'm slipping tonight. Well, I was in a little pain, when you get old, I went hard too. I got a good sweat in therapy today. It's like, you finished already? I wasn't playing. I put that work in. Uh, mm, put some of this oil in here, make the mood a lot better, and get back to it. Excuse me. Like I said, procrastination is one of our flaws. And being honest with yourself shows how it kills your dream. So you got to start building discipline. If you ever notice any organization in the world that wins, the discipline. Procrastination is the lack of discipline. Of course, you want to put off today, tomorrow, what you can do today, and that's not how life goes. You have to put that work in. And you can't procrastinate. And like I tell you, I don't have time to procrastinate, man. I'm 61, starting over from scratch, so I have to be able to look at my flaws, my shortcomings, my adversities, and do the right thing to get to where I need to be in life. Because if I don't, man, I mean, I'll be sitting around 70 years old, talking about a dream, and that's not me. Number two, self doubt. This is one of our flaws. Owning it lets you challenge negative thoughts and build real confidence. Like I told you, I used to have self doubt because I had low self esteem. Like I said, I wanted to be wanted by people who didn't care about me, and I wanted to be around people who really was just using me. But when you come of age and you start to realize and look at your flaws and face your flaws, your shortcomings, your adversities, things change. I'm no longer that little fat kid that had low self esteem. I'm a very confident, grown man, and it comes with time. Number three, anger issues. This is part of our flaws. Admitting it stops you from hurting people you care about. Have you ever known a person that was, man, greatest person in the world, but the anger issues mess up everything? Their anger issues destroy everything that could possibly uh go right in their lives, you know, and it's not like they can control it. It's a thing where it's just like, man, You know, this thing don't never act right. Number four, people pleasing. Recognize it helps you set boundaries and respect yourself. Like I tell you, your past is only a measuring stick for your future. You build boundaries, things you liked in life that you did from your past. You keep in the things that you didn't like. You build boundaries so people don't overstep them. Just how life is. Number five, fear of failure. Facing it pushes you to take risks and actually grow. That's the only way you're gonna get through your adversities, you and your flaws, your faults, anything. You gotta face it. This is why it's five principles to this program. And the fourth one and the fifth one is going to your excuse me, going to the wall of adversity and recognizing all the shortcomings, flaws, adversities, everything. And the fifth principle is breaking through that wall of adversity, going to the road of change. And it's steps. Everything is steps in life. It's just like we grew up as when we was kids. We as babies. We couldn't even roll over. Then we roll over. Then we crawl. From crawl we stand. Then we walk. And then so for everything in life is a progression. It's just like knowledge. You come in this world, you know nothing. And as you go through life adversities, you learn life. You learn things in life. And a lot of times, we'd be afraid to fail, but man, failure is the best thing that can happen to you. Because that's one more way you've learned not to do something. It's easy, man. Once you get it. Perfectionism. It's a lot of people are like that. It gotta be this way. Sometimes it doesn't even have to. But seeing how it paralyzes you frees you to make progress instead. Can never let nothing have you to where you stuck. There's nothing wrong with being a professional, but knowing when you have to, like, okay, this is the best we can do, and work with it. Lying to others. You know what they say about when a person lies, that means they're afraid. You know, and that's the truth. When you have no fear, you don't lie. It is what it is. It's just what it is. um Admitting it rebuilds trust and makes your relationship real. You hear what that says? Lying to others, admitting it rebuilds trust and makes your relationship real. One of the things my mother used to always say is, I hate a liar. She said, if you lie, you steal. If you steal, you kill. And I never really got it till I got older. Most people who lie, will do something to you. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Laziness. Honesty reveals you're capable of more. So you start showing up. Just being honest with yourself. You know that you want better. You can do better. You can be better. You just gotta be real with yourself, man. And you can't be lazy. Can't procrastinate. You gotta do what needs to be done. This is one thing I've never had, and this is another flaw. Jealousy. Jealousy, owning it, stops toxic comparisons and helps you focus on your own path. One thing, I've never been jealous of no one because of I just see my greatness. I see the greatness in others. So I know that we are all part of one family. So why would I always been the one to champion, person that is, you know on the right track or doing something positive. I always champion. I've never been a jealous person. I never, and I thank God for that because I've seen it. It's been happening to me. With me growing up as the youngest of three, and my mother owning businesses, and we traveling the world, and we having the best everything. I've been hated on my whole life. And then when I got grown, I became rich, millionaire, and really it because I had all the fly cars, jewelry, all that stuff, and I never let that get me. And I thank God for that. Never been a jealous person, not even in relationships. Because a woman gonna do what she gonna do. What's the sense of being jealous? If you gotta feel that way, you shouldn't be with her. That's what I say. Avoiding conflict. Facing it teaches you to speak up for what matters. That's a flaw. A lot of people are afraid to have conflict, but that builds character, and that lets people know that you're not one to be pushed over. Negative self-talk catching it lets you replace it with kinder, more realistic thought. I always tell you guys that I'm my worst critic, and most people who are creators and know that they can do better all their work, but I've never talked down on myself like, oh, no, that's a psychological mental problem, and you never talk down. Your words are powerful. Words are very, very powerful. Making excuses. Owning your part in failure pushes you to take real responsibility in life, right? And this is something I had to learn. I would make excuses even when I didn't do nothing wrong. I don't even make excuses no more. It is what it is. It's nothing. What's done is done. It's nothing you can do about it. It's over with. So to let that uh continue to bother you, it's just you just that's crazy. Point blank, that's just crazy. And making excuses is not owning up to what's what. Like I tell you, second principle, wherever you're at in life, God put you there because He's driving the car and He makes no mistakes. But you must take the responsibility of seeing wherever you at in life, maybe it's something that you did that got you to where you are, and knowing that you must ask, like, what is it you're trying to show me? A lot of people don't get it. Life is so simple, but we make it so hard. And this is why I say, if we say God is the greatest that we say He is, He made a bunch of difficult people. So it has to be more way to contact Him. You know what I mean? But it all starts from here. It got to be from your heart. If it's not from your heart, it's not going to work. Holding grudges. This is a big flaw. Letting them go frees up mental energy for better things. Um, for quite some time, going through the things I went through, and getting screwed over the way I got screwed over. Uh, I kind of held a grudge for a minute, not long, because I had to let it go because I was inside. And then when you're inside and you're going through mental things, it destroys your bit. So I had to embrace that pain, and that's when the peace came. A lot of times we must face the things that we run away from, and when we do that, life is a whole lot better. So holding grudges, it doesn't do nothing but eat you up, because 9 out of 10 times the people that you hold a grudge against, they really don't care about you because they've shown you this is why you have a grudge. And I compare it to drinking poison and thinking that they're going to die. No, you drunk the poison, so you're going to die. You don't let people rent space in your head. The things happen, it's like, okay, you got to let it go. This is how you find your peace. You got to let it go. But you have to learn to forgive others, but most importantly, learn to forgive yourself, because you don't have no book, no manual to tell you how life is going to turn out. You have to live it. Now, we have instructions from prophets and messengers, but everyday life things happen, and we have to learn to adjust. So never hold a grudge. you know that's something that will eat you alive. Overeating or emotional eating, facing it helps you to build healthier habits and self-control. Like that was one of my flaws when I was young, overeating. you know um a lot of times we eat because we nervous, or this is going on or that's going on, but we have to understand that, right? There's a limit to everything that we do in life. And if you overdo anything, it's not good for you. If you drink too much water, it ain't good for you. So you have to understand that you have to limit yourself, cut off at a certain time of night, different things like that to help yourself. Gossiping. This is a big flaw that, you know, s- not only women, but a lot of men have it too. And these are one of the things I don't try, I stay away from it. I don't get any enjoyment out of gossiping, because I know it's one of the most deadly sins that you could do. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that, would you like to eat the flesh of your dead brother? So that's what gossiping, eating, backbiting is. I don't want that in my life. And I try to stay away from it. When people start to talking, I try to switch a topic or something to go to something else, because it's not good. Another flaw is being unreliable. Do you know how important it is when people are relying on you, and you disappoint them? It was one of the lessons I learned when I was doing construction. Like they tell you, we're relying on you to come tomorrow. So if you don't call and let us know, that's not a good thing, because we're relying. You have to be able to be reliable. And these are the things in life, period. Becoming dependable improves every relationship in your life, you know, and being unreliable is one of the reasons, partially, of why I don't have a relationship with my kids. And I understand now. While I was drugging, they was looking for me to, do different things, but that's part of life, and it's nothing I can do about that. You can apologize, you can ask for forgiveness, but if it's not in a person's heart, it's nothing you can do. So you just move on. That's like letting person rent space in your head. I refuse that. I love my peace too much. It took me too much to get to it, and for me to let someone else take that away. No, it's not going to happen. Overspending. Getting honest about your finance leads to real financial freedom. A lot of people live above their means, to look good to other people, to show off or whatever. Like I tell you, I used to spend $1,000 a day on scratch tickets, and I live off $1,000 a month. And after I pay my bills, I still have money left. Do you know how humbling that is, to come from where I was at to being where I'm at now, and being more content now than I was when I had the money? I was making almost 300,000 a month, for about 5 years. Profit, mine. But I was spending it fast as I could get it. And I was just reckless. And it tells you a spendthrift, God says that a spendthrift is the cousin of the devil. So many people out there starving. And like now, I cook for myself. I may cook and have food in there for 3, 4 days and then eat that or make something else and then eat that. I understand how important it is to conserve these days, especially what's going on in the world. You have to be able to adjust. You have to be able to change. Comparing yourself to others. Focus on your own growth brings genuine peace. You can't worry about nobody else. And when you are so focused on someone else, you're not looking at your stuff. I don't worry about no one else on this world because I know I have so much that I have to do at 61 years old, starting fresh by myself on SSI, retired, can't work because I got ailments, then I got shot up, but I still thrive because I know that I have a purpose and my purpose outweighs, my flaws. And this is where you have to get in your life where your purpose, your why is why you're doing what you're doing. Avoiding difficult conversations, having them clear the air and strengthen bonds. A lot of people don't want to confront other people when other people has wronged them because they don't want problems. But you have to be able to confront, and you have to do it in a diplomatic way. You have to learn how to talk to people and know your boundaries. It's part of life. Staying in toxic relationships, recognizing it gives you the courage to leave. Man, so many, I mean, like, so many stories I've heard while locked up about relationships, just like my own stories. You have to know when to hold them and know when to fold them, know when to walk away and know when to run. And that's real. This is it happens. Life happens, and you can't regret nothing because everything in life prepares you for the next steps in your life. Just how life goes. Lack of self-care, not taking care of yourself, not being hygienic. Prioritizing yourself prevents burnout and improves everything else. You got to keep you right. If you don't keep you right, you're going to lose it. You know how many people I've seen that, oh man, it's just bad. They let it go. You can never let it go, man. You got to understand. You got to always have a connection with your higher power and live right. Do for others that you want done for you. And no matter how other people act, say, feel, and think, you have to always do the right thing regardless. And that's what's kept me sane for all of these years. All of these years. And it's just how life is. Blaming others. Take responsibilities empowers you to actually fix problems. When you're going through stuff in life, like I tell you, when you're a kid, hold on one second. Hello? Yeah. Yeah, that's for my ride for tomorrow. All right, let's get back to it. Um, Yes, blaming others. Everything starts and ends right here. Anything that happens in my life, I'm in control of it, no matter what. Whatever position you put yourself in, you are in control. Period. You know, so there's no blaming nobody for anything that goes on in your life, especially if you're grown. When you're a kid, peer pressure and all that stuff. But when you're grown, no, everything that happens in your life, you played a part in it. It is what it is. Giving up too easy. Pushing through builds resilience and better results. Just going through life and facing it. Man, it builds an intestinal fortitude that you can't buy. It's just like going to the gym. Nobody can give you muscles. You got to earn them. And this is what happens when you go through life. Being judgmental. That's something that I've asked God to help me with years ago, and I try my best not to judge people today. And the reason why is because when you pointing fingers, it's three fingers pointing back at you plus a thumb. So I don't pass judgment. Open your mind makes you more compassionate and connected. Being empathetic, feeling what they feel. Don't judge. Like I said, once God gives you this vision, you can never unsee life for what it is. You can never take the glasses off. You can never make people see what you see, and you can never give it to them. So the whole thing is right here. Um, when you get that, you see people for who they are, you see life for what it is, and you don't judge. You just understand that's what they are in their life. Simple. And these are things we must learn to do in our lives because so many people are so judgmental of others, man, and they got more things wrong in their life than the person that they judging. I don't judge because I have so many things I have to get right in my life. I don't have time for you. And this is why I always prosper. I don't worry about what the next person does. I do what I have to do and keep it pushing. Uh, a flaw of a fear of being rejected. Facing it lets you go after what you really want. See, one thing about life, nothing is going to be given to you. You have to go for whatever you want. And you can't be afraid of rejection. Like I tell you guys, when I was in doing multi-level marketing, one of the lessons was get to go through your no's till you can get to your yeses. So go through your rejections first, and learn from your rejections. Embrace your rejections because no one is going to. It's just like I tell you about this program right here. This is a basically new platform, a new podcast, and it's talking about positivity. Now, if I was on here talking about negativity and have people coming on and talk, it probably would be popping. But that's not how I live my life no more. So I have to live my life correct. So I do the right thing. I talk about positive. I talk about helping us to grow, to heal, go through our adversities to change and make life better for us. And it's going to take time to build. It's not going to happen over course. It's positive. People only jump on positivity when it's successful. Now, if I go to a million, 2 million, 5, 10 million followers, and I'm going, and it's pop, people going to start coming in droves. 'Cause that's how people are, and you must understand that, and it's not personal, just how life is. Another flaw is not asking for help. A lot of people are so egotistical, and what is egotistical is easing God out. You can never be afraid to ask. Closed mouths don't get fed. Learning to ask builds stronger support networks. See, if you're a person that's going to do the right thing, asking shouldn't be a problem. Now, if you're going to do something foolish, then yeah, you shouldn't ask no one. But when you're a person that lives right, yeah, sometimes we need help. I get on my boy all the time. He don't want me to help him, but when we was in the shelter, man, this brother used to treat me all the time. Even if I have money, he want to pay. And like I tell him now, right now you may be going through something. Let me help because I'm up. You see what I'm saying? And then when we get rich, then we can settle the score then. But we can't have ego to stop us from growing because of our past. And that's a good segue to right here. Living in the past. Letting go allows you to create a better future. See, when you've gone through stuff like that, and you feel a way of letting others help, it's because of things you go through. You got to let that go. When you got genuine people in your life, sometimes you just have to let them help you. Because it takes a village. We're family, and a lot of people don't get it. We come from two people, Adam and Eve, and we all have flaws. No one was perfect that ever came in this whole thing. No one was perfect. So understand that we all have flaws, but we must work on them to be better, to do better, and it builds our character. And once you start living right and doing right, you don't even like to be around negative. You'll stay away. Negativity repels. It's like two different sides of a magnet. Once you start working on yourself, man, you don't have time for games. You don't have time because life is too short. I've gotten old. Even though I feel young, but I'm not. So I have to be realistic about how many years I got left in life. You know, I can be dead tomorrow. Next month, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. It's not like I'm 19 and I got a whole life ahead of me. So you once you know that things are serious in life, you're gonna make changes. Trust me. I don't care who you are, unless you're one of the ones who want to go to the shaitan, to the hellfire. Um, Living in the past, like I said, your past is only a measuring stick for today. The things you like, the things you didn't like. You build boundaries for the things you didn't like. Things you like, you rock with it. That's all the past is. You can't get to your future unless you know your past. So you understand it, but you don't let it keep you stuck. You know, you don't let nothing keep you stuck. You got to keep moving in life. Pride or stubbornness, being willing to change, open doors you didn't know exist. A prideful person, people don't even like to really deal with people like that. Look at what Dame Dash is going through. You know, but the only reason why I think he's going to come out, because his pride is real. It's he's not faking his pride. It's just how he is, and what he says. He sticks to what he feels, and I respect that. And he a Harlem cat like myself, so that's another good thing. And lack of purpose. Getting honest about it pushes you to find what truly matters to you. You know, how can I say this? When you don't have a purpose in life, I think that's uh one of the most craziest things that I feel that you can't do nothing in life unless you have a purpose. That you can't do nothing in life unless you have, you can't do nothing in life unless you have purpose. But you gotta be real. You gotta be 1,000% real. A lot of people, man, life is a great thing, man. That's what I tell you, man. And we have to work on our flaws. And I'm not talking about the ones we walk on. I'm talking about our flaws. FLAWS. You know, in order for us to make change in life, we have to see the things that we need to change in our life. It's like I said, it's through adversity come change. Your choices shape your adversities. Your adversities are your lessons that get you to your blessings. And the only way you're going to survive is be 1,000% real with yourself. Like I tell you, it's not about nobody else. And this is what a lot of people think. You have to uh go through this with a worry about. No, it's about you, man. Everything starts and ends with you. I can't tell you this enough because a lot of people are looking all over the place to try to find peace. Peace is within here. You have to be willing to embrace your pain, your suffering, and make it a part of your life. And once you do that, that shit is gonna dissipate. Trust me. Trust me. I had to go through it. And that's one of the reasons that I was able to gain my peace. I, it was so strong, the things that was going on, and I had to like ask God, just let me feel what all of this pain feels like. And when I took it on, it was like things just started transforming. This is how I was able to forgive others first. Of course, that was why I was upset. Once I was able to forgive them after I embraced my pain, then I was able to forgive me because I realized that, man, everything started and ended with me. I let these things happen in my life. I didn't do things to protect myself in different ways, whether it's a relationship or friendships. And once you take the responsibility of everything and all your flaws and your shortcomings and your faults and all that, man, life just gets so much better because you're honest with you. You no longer live in a lie. You live in peace and harmony with the world. You don't have no grudges. You don't hate nobody. You pray for everyone, and you just want everybody to win. And it's so hard, man, because we've been brainwashed so bad. Everyone. And this is why I say, in order for us to come together, we must heal first, then learn the lies from the truth. There's so many lies that we've been told and we think that are true, that if we learn the truth, man, we can have a better vision, a tunnel vision in life, and block out all the nonsense. It's a process to this, because what you have to understand is these people have layers of ways to keep them in power, that they use against us on a daily basis. It's thousands of layers, and like they say, the only way you can beat them is you hit their pocketbook. Stop spending. You do that for a month, man, they gonna come around like, yo, what can we do? See, once you play with that pocketbook, It's a whole different animal. But he keeps us divided because he knows that united we stand, divided we fall. Why do you think they win? Because they're united. No matter what, they can be mad at each other and they're gonna still do what they gotta do to stay on top and get money together. We be mad at each other, we want to kill each other. You know, we have to learn so much, man. We've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray for hundreds and hundreds of years. But now it's time for us to make changes. It's time for us to make changes, time for us to come together, time for us to heal, time for us to do the right thing by ourselves, for ourselves, and healing is the number one, learning the lies from the truth. Then we can come together on one common goal. Like I said, when I was away, I created 30 apps, devices, business concepts. I got an honorary master's degree from Baylor University through the Venture. I created a 30-year plan that if we execute, that we will never be looked at as second class citizens. We won't even have to worry about them trying to take the 14th Amendment. You see what I'm saying? Because we will build our own. We don't have to worry about them with their nothing. We don't rely on them. See, because we spend the most money on the gross national product every year. And like I was listening to something today, but I heard it before from Farrakhan. Says that if black people don't have no money, why do all these other ethnic groups come to our neighborhoods? Because we spend that money. We've been taught to act like we're rich even though we're poor. And then the poor people been taught to act like they're poor even though they're rich. We got it backwards. But once you start the healing, once you start to go through your adversities, make the change you need to make in your life, you start to see things for what they are. Like I said, I went from $1,000 a day on scratch tickets to $1,000 a month living, feeding myself. So it's about making the proper changes in your life. Only you can do it. And no one else can do that for you. Only you can do that for yourself. It's within, man. Once you understand that life changing events happen right here and here, nowhere else. You have to be able to work these things out in your heart and in your mind, but you have to get tired of being sick and tired. And until that time comes, you're going to continue to do the things that you do. A lot of times we love being the victim or playing the victim, but it's time for us to stand up and get what's rightfully ours. And that's freedom, free, peace, equality, justice. We keep asking for it. We have to take it. We have to do what they do. They don't ask for nothing, they take it. And we have to figure a way to do it peacefully because we can't win a war against motherfuckers who have weapons that are so far in advance. You know what I mean? It would be crazy, but you have to think of ways to outsmart people like they do us. They don't no longer whip us like they used to whip us. They still do, but it's different. They whip us mentally. So you have to be able to outthink them. And how you do that? You got to heal first. You got to learn the lies from the truth. And you got to live honestly. And see, one thing you have to always do, you have to keep God first. Until you keep God first, life is not going to be what it's supposed to be. He loves us that much that he let us go with the devil. I've worked with the devil all these years, like I told you. That's why I did 28 years in jail. Because the stuff I was doing was devilish. That stuff doesn't even feel right no more. So this is why I do positive. and I live righteous now. But I had to go through that. If I didn't go through that, I wouldn't be who I am today. I would love the person I am today. I'll probably still be the same person with low self-esteem. But it's through our adversity change take place when you pay attention. And I always put that last part, when you pay attention. You got to pay attention. It's an ayat in the Quran that God says, it's Surah 3, ayat 19. It says, Inni fi khalqi samawati wal ard waqtilafil layli wa nahari latalil ulil albab. And what that means is, in the creations of the heavens and the earth and the alternations of night and day, there are signs for men of understanding. Basically, use your head for a hat rack. I'm going to give you the signs. Do what you got to do. Like I told you, the adversities that God puts us on shape and mold us to who He wants us to be when we pay attention. Because your adversity shape and mold you to who God wants you to be, and mine shape and mold me to who God wants me to be. We don't never have the same adversities. It's going to always be different. That's why you can have two brothers that grew up in the same household. One does good and one does bad. And they got the same mother and father and they got the same house. It's life. It's you. We have to make conscious decisions in our life to do better. And this is how I try to live my life these days, living it right, righteous. It's about doing the right thing for the right reason, because God is always watching. And be frankly, I don't want to go to hell. Look, see this right here? I don't know if you can see that you see that right there? You see that fire? I can't take that. How am I going to take the hellfire? And that's supposed to be 7 times hotter than the sun, or hotter than the hottest thing on this earth. I can't do it. So I live right because I want to be with God. I want to go to the paradise. I don't worry about nothing and no one else but what I have to do for me, and it works. This is how I'm able to come on here every night and give y'all a part of the knowledge, wisdom, understanding that I've acquired over the 61 years of my life. And I don't have to do this. This costs me uh hundreds of dollars a month just to do this. But I do it because I have so much love for my fellow man. And like the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, you don't love you don't love correctly until you love for your brother and sister what you want for yourself. And like I said, I want each and every one of y'all to win, whether you like me or don't. I still want you to win. Because you know what? When you winning, you ain't got time to worry about nobody else. So you're gonna keep focus on yourself and do the right thing. And this is what it's all about. Through adversity come change. This is the book. Once again, it's on Amazon. Check it out. And it's a workbook on there too. It's a red workbook like this. And it's less than this one. And it's to help you to heal, help you to uh be better with yourself, to help you to go on that journey to find peace, freedom, positive mindset. It's up to you. Like I said, everything starts and ends with you. Until you get that, you know, you're gonna hold on. you're gonna, excuse me. You're gonna hold on to those flaws. I don't want them in my life, so I let them go. And I just gave you 30 examples of the flaws that we have, and it's much more. But do those things to get rid of them. Face them. And I guarantee your life is gonna get better. You know, I don't just say this for nothing. Trust and believe your life will get better if you start living right and work on you. Don't worry about nobody else. Just work on you and watch how things get. Y'all have a blessed night and get your spirit right, your connection with God, and everything else will work its way out. TACC man out.